I see a lot of comments, certain negativity shown by our investors towards me personally, and saying that during my meetings there is a lot of empty talk, and people are saying that I'm beating around the bush, and people are saying that we know everything already, tell us when the dividends will be paid. Friends, the meetings that I'm having are intended for our regular clients who follow the development of the string transportation technology. A lot of people are not subscribed to the news that we have in the Telegram channel, and they're not aware of what's happening in the development of the string transportation technology. And many people have it, for many people, it is more convenient to watch a video or such a live broadcast instead of reading about it. That's for whom such meetings as today's are intended for. So if it seems like it's empty talk or beating around the bush, then probably you are not in the right place. Then just remain a passive investor and wait for the payday when the capitalization happens and when the financial prospects occur, or when the point comes when the company will start paying dividends, sharing its profits. Then just don't waste your time listening to what you don't like or what doesn't fit you. I'm not talking to the people who are present right here, because obviously if you are still here, then you like it and you need it. But those people who will be watching us, guys, in recording, just probably let's once we publish this particular meeting on YouTube, just put this particular part, the one that I'm saying right now, somewhere in the beginning, so that people wouldn't waste their time watching the video they don't need or they don't like, that they think that I'm beating around the bush. For them not to waste their time learning more about the creator of the technology, his difficult journey, for them not to waste their time knowing about the fact how the company and Dr. Initsky is gaining more and more prominence and becoming more and more reputable in the scientific community on the international arena. So let them not waste time. If it's just empty talk for them, then why would you waste time? Just skip it, and maybe those meetings are not for you, and the active activity that we are doing here probably is not for you either. So if you're an investor, thank you. Be an investor, wait for the payday. But please do not write things that are simply not true. This is not good behavior. This is not polite. Of course, we all have our opinions, have the right to agree to disagree as anyone, but be rational about it, be objective about it. And if we try to objectively discuss the recent achievements of the company, when we say that we are a investment crowdfunding platform, then we simply have to discuss those things. If we position ourselves as such platform, then what else should we be talking about? Of course, we're talking about the promotion of the technology, we're talking about the attraction of new investors, and the promotion of the string transportation technology in general. Otherwise, why would we be here? Why would we need this investment crowdfunding model? Is it logical, friends? For those of you who just heard me, do you agree with me with what I just said? Just give me some answer. So, good evening, everyone, dear guests, dear partners. I'm very glad to be welcoming you here today at our meetings. Today is the 21st of September, 2024, and it's 6:11 p.m. local time, and we can start our long-awaited meeting. which unfortunately had to be postponed from Thursday to Saturday for technical reasons. And I'm very thankful to everyone who took it with understanding, but there were technical reasons for that, and those who took it calmly, I'm grateful to you. Also, I wanted to add that we've also taken a break in our broadcasts because we are preparing for the gradual transition to a new platform. Also, we today will learn the recent news in that area, what is in store for us, and what is our action plan, cooperation plan for the next 2 months. And friends, also today's meeting will take this kind of format. First, we will look into the recent news that has been published in the area of string transportation, what kind of global events took place, and there have been quite a number of them, and they leave indifferent those people who are true and leave not indifferent those people who are truly followers of Anatoly Yunitsky, and we will discuss all that news because they are quite represent quite significant milestones in the development of all the projects created by Dr. Yunitsky. So we will have things to discuss today. I will touch upon the questions that you asked in the chat because we did receive a number of them. Well, they are kind of homogeneous. I mean, they sound the same, but I think after we cover the questions today, I don't think we will have to go back to those questions anymore because I will try to do my best to explain everything as clearly as possible. Things that every single investor in the string transportation technology needs to understand in order to have a sound attitude towards what's happening. And that will also help you get rid of the questions and have your questions answered. I'm talking about questions that have been asked in the chat, and we keep all those questions. Like 99% of them are there, except rude questions and questions asked by people who cross the line. So we will split our meeting into 2 parts. If it's going to be too difficult for us to sit for 2 hours straight, we can take a short 5-minute break to, drink a glass of water, probably go to the bathroom. So just get yourself ready for a 2-hour meeting because that's approximately the time that we are going to need. And I think, yes, we did right that we waited for 10 minutes because now we have double the participants. It's kind of a magic, those 10 minutes, I don't know, always work magic. But we need to somehow discipline ourselves and try to get used to coming on time because sometimes other meeting organizers do start on time, and then people who come in late, they regret it because they lose the first 10 minutes of the speech. Usually it's meet and greet, but sometimes it might be some important stuff. So we will try and start our meetings on the hour without waiting for other people. But for now, history shows that if we wait for 10 minutes more, then the number of participants doubles. We'll try to work on that. So let's take a look at our geography today. Please write the country, the city you're from. Let me remind you, we have 3 working languages today, English, Russian, and Hindi. And you can choose the language that you prefer in the options, because right now we have a in-house translators team, and I'm very thankful to our translators for supporting our meetings. And in the chat, you can already see the instructions how to choose the language that you need. If you haven't done it yet, it's quite convenient. And I'm sure that once the updated platform is launched, when we are done with the full-fledged rebranding and when we go to the new website, we will have a more extended, let's call it, list of languages. For example, Verica says that she's from France, so probably we can throw in the French language. I know that we have quite a lot of investors from other European countries like the Czech Republic, Italy, France, already mentioned, Germany. So we are going to increase the number of languages along the growth of our new updated platform. Okay, we did our roll call already. We have Tallinn, Estonia, India, Assam. Then we have Assam Bharat. We have Verica from France. Then we have Paresh Patel from Ahmedabad. Then we have the Netherlands, Krasnoyarsk, Novosibirsk. Then again, India. Then we have Bardha and Solapur, quite a lot of partners from India. And by the way, we are going to dwell upon India as well today because we have some news about India in general as a country and what kind of resonance the country received to cause in a positive way a week ago. But yeah, we're going to mention that as well. So, dear friends, in your opinion, what is the most important event that happened in one of the most important areas or projects initiated by Dr. Yunitsky, focused on the preservation of our planet to make sure that our planet is clean, that our planet does not suffer from the toxic production manufacturing process, all the man-caused consequences of human development, human civilization development, and all those negative consequences. So what is the event? In my opinion, it's one of the biggest events happening once a year. So Alexander and Mr. Satish mentioned, yes, it's a conference on rocket-free space exploration. It's called U-Space Technology. Indeed, it is a very meaningful event held every year. This event already has been bearing the international format for quite some time now because the participants who attended that conference, they represent various countries. And what is important, in my opinion, is that they have been representatives of the scientific community too, and people who support, advocate for Dr. Yunitsky's technology. And more importantly, more in detail, we're going to take a look how it was. And let's see what kind of guests attended that event. I'm going to share my screen with you. Probably already read that news, but nevertheless, I still would like to share it with you during our today's meeting so that our platform clients would be able to see that as a recording. So on the 13th, 14th of September, last week, there was a conference on the rocket-free space exploration, industrialization, and one of the honorable guests at that event was the Minister of Transportation of India. And it was quite indicative of what Dr. Yunitsky is doing in our lifetime and what kind of rewards Dr. Initsky received from the Minister of Road Transport and Highways in India. And I'm gonna quote it for you. You see, I'm highlighting his quote, and what he said is, Dr. Yunitsky is a pioneer in the rocket-free space exploration. He is, friends, and this is what I liked very much. It's not like even a compliment, it's actually like statement of facts. He is the person who changed the rules of the game in the transportation sector. I remember when I visited the rail string track in Sharjah, and I remember how much I enjoyed the test ride on U-Mobile. I saw how safe it is, and I'm sure this concept is capable of changing the urban transportation system. And this was said not just a person who simply enjoyed the string transportation technology and not someone who enjoyed the development of Dr. Initsky. It is a whole minister of road transportation and highways in India. And India is one of the most fastest development economies in the world. It's a country with the biggest number of population in the world right now. And it goes first. And then the runner-up is China. A couple of years ago, it was the other way around. And this country and this minister, unlike better than anyone else, understand the importance of implementation of such innovative transportation in their country, because this is, I'm talking about addressing the logistics problems of the country, but also it has huge potential for the economy of that country. And another thing that I wanted to mention here, dear friends, at that conference, we had the director of the Skyway Transport Systems, Mr. Guru Prasad, and Hari Prasad, Guru Prasad. And he said something very inspiring. He said, it is India that will be one of the first countries where the commercial project of the UST transport infrastructure complex will be implemented. And these are the words of a quite high-ranking person who is the director of the iSky Transport Systems Private Limited in India. And we have all the prerequisites for that. We have the Minister of Transport saying that. So it's yet another proof that the company is going in the right direction and is achieving the results that were announced by Dr. Initsky at the end of 2023, when he said that the group of companies of Dr. Initsky's will be expanding their presence in the global market, and that the company has indeed real commercial projects in the pipeline. And I will not tire of mentioning it, because this, dear friends, included a whole series of videos made by the commercial projects team, and they gave quite a detailed description of how it's happening. And today we can see that high-ranking officials of one of the leading economies and fastest developing countries in the world, as India, are saying. So for us, what do you think, what kind of a signal it is for us? What does it prove, or what does it hint of, or what kind of conclusions we can derive from the statements of such high-ranking officials? In your opinion? I will open up the chat. Someone says, too late. The first track was already in the United Arab Emirates. Well, friends, we don't have yet the first commercial track in the Emirates. We have test tracks there, as in Belarus. But right now we're talking about a specific commercial project. And what kind of conclusions we can draw here after hearing such news, such feedback and opinions from such high-ranking persons? Alexander says, we are on the right track. Verika says, money is coming. What else? So we have quite a lot of people here. Then please share your opinions, your comments. Verika says, yeah, money is coming. I translated it for myself. Correct. Gregory says, all we have to do is just wish luck and patience. Shanti says IPO. Well, I don't know what the entire phrase means, but we're not yet there. We're not yet at the IPO stage. IPO is a completely different topic. It's a completely different avenue. It's a whole process. And during my previous meetings, I gave quite a detailed description and explanation. It is not our top priority task to launch an IPO in the near future. That's not what matters right now. We can participate in the profit sharing without the IPO. Alexander Nessen says, the first commercial project UST Inc. in the Aqua Park Aquarel in Belarus. Watch the movie about the creation of the Unilights. Indeed, it is a first commercial project. It is the embodiment of the simplicity, accessibility, and the genius and the ease of using the track. And also, it's a project that, first of all, like a flagship. It's the launch of the first commercial project. But as for the international arena, then Unilight in Belarus was like the first bird, like the first swallow. It was a final proof to all the haters who were saying that this technology is not in demand and doesn't work. They are wrong. So launching the Unilight complex in Belarus was the final answer to all those haters. The project is not that big. The track is quite short. But if you compare it to like city and intercity transportation roads, it's a small track. It's a small complex. But yet it implies a lot of engineering work done by Dr. Unitsky's team, and it combines both transportation of passengers and transportation of cargoes. It's a universal track. So thank you very much, Alexander, by sharing the news and the link to the video, because indeed, there was a movie made about a reportage made about the creation of the Unilight complex and what kind of value and what kind of a unique nature it has. So I recommend everyone watch it. You can watch it by following the link in the chat. So another partner of ours says that everything that was declared on the website of GTI is going according to plan. Indeed, that's the key message here. And that's what I'm emphasizing at each of my meetings, that everything declared by Dr. Unitsky, the direction that he is announcing, is the direction that we're going according to. Sometimes there are delays, yes. Sometimes methods of achieving the goal can change. But ultimately, if we take a look at it in general terms, then yes, we are going in the direction that was announced. Just let me translate the question or a comment. When will IPO come? That's the translation from the comment in Hindi. Well, I answered that question. And we will go back to it. I will write it down, although I already answered that question in the past, but we will go back to it. So yes, this question about the IPO, as far as I understand, is the translation from the comment in Hindi asked previously. Okay, but we will go back to that topic. So Andre is mentioning the high-speed transportation. Okay, well, I'll take a note of it as well. We will discuss it too. I'm making notes, but we're not going to talk about it right now because we need to go according to plan. So the bottom line here is regarding this particular event that was held on the 13th, 14th of September. Friends, okay, right now, please stop asking questions. Please only leave comments when asked to. For example, if I ask you to share your comments, then you share your comments. Because if you start asking questions, then I will lose the train of thought and we will lose the pre-established sequence of topics that we're going to cover today. I will answer your questions, don't worry, but let's do it in its own time, like A, then B, then C, okay? So you please think of your questions, write them down somewhere, and then when it's time for questions, please ask your questions. If you're okay with that kind of structure, then give me a plus in the chat, okay? Because it will be better this way, more organized this way. The Q&A session will come later. And I would like to share once again my screen with you and point out one more thing, which is related to the activities of Dr. Unitsky, how strongly right now we can see the increase of followers, in the increase in the number of followers of string transportation, plus rocket-free space exploration using U-Space. It's the humus production and a number of other projects in the portfolio of our contemporary genius, Dr. Unitsky. Just take a look at the participants who were present at that meeting. The 7th Global Conference, I'm highlighting it for you. The 7th Global Conference on Near Space Industrialization brought together scientists, sociologists, engineers, economists, public figures, and experts. Among the invited guests of the event, there have been representatives of the National Academy of Sciences of Belarus, which is a huge governmental authority. The National Academy of Sciences of any country is the highest authority in the area of science. It's like the highest reputable organization. And the presence of such authorities is indicative of the level of authority of such events and the reputation of the host, Dr. Unitsky, and his recognition. Next, we had the representatives of the Roscosmos State Corporation of the Russian Federation. It's a space exploration agency. United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and the BRICS Business Communication Support Foundation, Arctic Academy of Sciences, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways of India, as well as scientific partners of Belarusian State University of Transport and Siberian State Industrial University. In a couple of years, 2-3 years, we see the active development of the group of companies of Dr. Unitsky, and over that time, the company and Dr. Unitsky personally getting are getting more and more recognition from the scientific community. And if we go back to 5, 7, 8 years ago, remember the sheer amount of criticism, again, coming from the scientific community towards what Dr. Unitsky was offering to the market, like both the transportation market and space exploration market. And now how the tables have turned, right? Those people who first criticize scientific pursuits of Dr. Unitsky, those who were like hating Dr. Unitsky and his work, have now changed their opinion, and now they cannot call white black. It would be apparent, and now we have fewer and fewer such people. And for me, it's a point of pride. I'm proudful that of the fact that we are part of that community of people who are involved in this game-changing movement in the area of transportation on the global level, because we are co-owners of that technology. We helped that technology get implemented by supporting it financially and by promoting it. And of course, this is involvement in something great, something huge. And those partners of ours who haven't fully realized that, they still write negative things on the internet. And I will focus my attention on that. But first, I will give you a couple of facts, news that happened over the recent time. And if we are to look at the rational facts and statements, then I think those facts will help people change their minds and stop being negative and stop engaging like wishful thinking and thinking that they had been promised something in the past and those promises hadn't been delivered yet. But after we take a look at all the recent changes or achievements of the company, I'm sure it will help change our perspective on things. Okay, for now, I will stop sharing my screen. I can see that we have a number of comments. Let me have it translated first. Dispatch video of YouTube in Skyway in WhatsApp. Well, friends, first of all, we don't have the Skyway technology. It's called UST, Unitsky String Technologies, or Unitsky's String Transportation. That's how it's called. So please remember that since 2021, the company completed rebranding, and now Skyway isn't used anymore, either in the promotion of the string transportation technology or in our communication. So string transportation. So 5 minutes ago, I asked you to ask your questions at the end, and still we have a person who is asking when we can start selling Skyway shares. First of all, we don't have Skyway technology. It's called string transportation technology. And currently, we don't have shares of that company. We have pre-IPO shares, pipes, it's called. So please use the correct terminology, string transportation, pipes, or pre-IPO shares. But we will talk about the IPO, the capitalization, and the dividends at the end, okay? So what other important events happened over that time whilst we haven't seen each other and haven't talked? So let's take a look at other news. 1 second, please. I'm going to show it to you. One more thing. Let me go back to the technology, to the conference on this rocket-free space exploration. There is a website called IT Space. On that website, you can, if you want to, and I think we have such people, you can watch the 2-day conference that took place, become participants in that conference online. By participants, I mean watching the entire 2 days. So what you do is you click on the button watch the broadcast, and then you will be redirected to the page where you will be able to see the recording of the entire conference. It was 7 or 8 hours a day. It's aet.space. So you can watch the speech delivered by Dr. Yunitsky, the speech delivered by the Minister of Road Transport and Highways of India, and other keynote speakers who discussed all possible usages or ways to use the string transportation technology in rocket-free space exploration and near space industrialization. I will share the link. Alexander says, give me the name of the site. Here it is. In the chat, it's, you see, right now, and you will see the entire scope of the sheer scope of the conference. Just give me a second. Yes, now you have it. So it will be yet another way of understanding what kind of a unique person, genius person we are supporting and helping, and whose projects we're helping to implement. Yes, right now we are not directly involved in this particular technology, near space industrialization, but by promoting, sharing information about the technology in general, we are also making a contribution. The more people know about it, the better the global community, the faster the global community will come to the point of implementing this technology, because you realize that this is a global level technology. It covers the entire globe, because the landing, let's call it strip, will, for that particular, the takeoff and landing infrastructure will have to go along the entire equator. And that's why we had the representatives of the United Nations organization. What is the correct name of the organization? It's UNIDO. So yeah, it's United Nations Industrial Development Organization. So the interest towards what the group of companies of Dr. Yunitsky is doing is getting bigger and bigger. Well, everything else about the conference can be also taken from the film called Fundamental Program Echo World by Dr. Yunitsky. You can watch that film on Dr. Yunitsky's YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet to his channel, please do, because on that YouTube channel, they publish very often information and videos that are not published on UST website or on the website of the company headquarters in the United Arab Emirates. It's all the information related to the engineering activities of Dr. Yunitsky personally. So I'm going to share the link to that YouTube channel in the chat as well. Gregory says, I watched the film literally today. Very impressive. Of course it is impressive, because things that you will hear from that movie it's indeed a fundamental program because it's not only about rocket-free space exploration or near space industrialization, but it's also, dear friends, an entire layer of technologies, complex of technologies to be implemented. And this is part of the concept eco world, environmentally clean world. So I'm not going to give you any spoilers, just watch the movie, and I hope you will find time to watch it and learn everything this movie has to offer. So the conference, dear friends, is covered. Let's do some summary here. So we see global heightened interest from the world community growing all the time. Members of the participants of the conference include ever higher and higher ranking officials. Just take a look. The Minister of Road Transport and Highways of India is the second highest ranking person after the Prime Minister in their respective field. So this is something. There is nothing else I can add here. So what else? What else interesting and important happened? Just give me a second, please. Well, next. As for the international development, Unitsky String Technology held a lecture at the Vocational Technical College of China. Let me again start sharing my screen with you. Again, a very significant milestone. It's the second biggest population in the world, and in terms of population, right? And the first country in terms of innovations and development. So here's what it says. UST expands the list of institutions with which the cooperation has been established in the scientific and educational field. In September, the students of Guangzhou Railway Vocational and Technical College learned about the advantages of UST technology. This is the second lecture in the history of UST Inc. for Chinese students. It took place as part of a business visit to the People's Republic of China. The topic of the class says the application of knowledge about voltages on the example of UST string rail transport, varieties and design parameters of overpasses. And the lecture was attended by the second-year students of the college's electromechanical faculty, who are studying in the specialty railway power supply. And this is, by the way, the fifth lecture that was held for Belarusian and foreign universities in 2024. Earlier, they told about UST technology to the students of the Belarusian State University of Transport, Samara State Transport University, and Belarusian State University. So you see the scientific popular or outreach activities are being increased on various continents, in various countries, which is, friends, is just yet another proof that sign that the technology is getting more and more recognition at the global market by the global community. I'm talking about scientific community. And this is something to be really proud of, Just remember, those of you present here who have been investors since 2014, 2016, for the first 3 years since the launch. So who of the people present here have been investing since 2014-2016? Semyon says 2015. Alexander says representatives of the certification team met our employees to discuss certification of test track 4. Someone 2014, 2015, 15, yeah, quite a lot of people. Just remember what kind of things we read on the internet back then regarding the string transportation technology, what kind of information we received from external resources, things people discussed in media, on YouTube channels, various articles. So what did people write back then? They said negative all over the place and skepticism. Yes, to put it mildly, it was negative and skepticism, very mildly. Now, let's make a comparison. That's the reason I'm asked you to do that. So let's take the companies that we know about and the technologies that we know about. Let's take, for example, railway, common railway, and the first steam train, Stevenson, when they first built the first tracks. What did the specialist from horse transportation, horse-driven carriage transportation said back then? How they scared people, tried to frighten people not to take rides by rail. I remember there was even a movie back in the Soviet times. There was a whole film made about that period. How skeptical the people were about railway. Does anyone know or remember or read about it? What people said about railway when it was first introduced? Verica has hit the nail on the head here. She said they said that people would have brain damage. Exactly. That's what people were saying. This kind of nonsense people were saying back then when they first started introducing railway. They were saying that people would have health-related problems if you carry cattle. They won't be yielding milk, or hens wouldn't be laying eggs. Yes, that's what they were saying back then. And let's move closer. When Steve Jobs introduced the first personal computer, Macintosh, in a university, what was the first response of the people present here who were representatives of the scientific community, who were specialists in the IT back then in late 70s, early 80s? What did people say about the first home PC, personal computer? Probably it was just elementary lack of confidence and skepticism. Yes, nobody will need it. Nobody believed that everyone would have a PC of their own. Exactly. Back then, people thought that a computer had to be a huge, like computing device as big as an entire room. I don't know how many cubic meters, but quite a huge machine. And indeed, the first computing machines were that big, machines that were used in the manufacturing process. But Steve Jobs said, very soon, every house will have a computer. Of course, nobody believed him. He told him, like, look, guy, you're crazy. You're saying something wrong. Just take a look, watch the documentary about Apple. It's called either Apple, like the Empire of Temptation, or was it Jobs' Empire of Temptation, something like that. It's a kind of fiction, but it's based on real events. It's about the Steve Jobs' life, and there was about it. It's called, I think it's Jobs' Empire of Temptation. And yeah, people were saying that radiation would kill people, and little time passed, And now we indeed have a computer in every house, and now even in every pocket, in the form of a smartphone or gadgets that we're using. And the railway is an industry that is now covered the entire world, and it's one of the primary means of transportation people are using to move around. Aviation, friends. The Wright brothers, when they came up with the idea of the first airplane, what did people say before they saw the plane fly? They said that an object heavier than air cannot fly, cannot levitate. And all the innovations, when born, had to go through what Dr. Unitsky went through. All the innovators had to face it. And yet again, I would like to remind you or to urge you to watch the movie dedicated to this specific topic. It's about the journey of Dr. Unitsky as an innovator. And I will share it with you in the chat, and I regularly recommend you watch it during all of my meetings. It's called Following Your Star. It's the film about Anatoly Unitsky. And there it shows us his journey as an innovator. So what I'm driving here at, and when I'm giving so much time to the recent events and news that happened over the last couple of weeks, which is the conference on near space industrialization, rocket-free space exploration, companies' expansion on the international market, because delegations came there from Taiwan, other countries. You can read about it in the news feed. We are already past the point when people criticize or don't want to understand all that negativity related to the fact that the technology is not viable, it won't work. Well, first, we have the Unilight project launched. It's already going around, transporting people and cargoes. It's at the final stage of certification to bring it into production. It's there, it's working. So now we have crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. And now let's make a different comparison. Now we're drawing to the very essence of what I wanted to tell you. If we, and by the way, that's why I asked you who has been investing since 2014, 15, 16. You saw it with all your own eyes, the negativity, hatred towards the engineering part. We all passed through that. We saw that technology proved its viability. We saw that technology worked. We obtained the result in the form of 2 ready-to-use commercial products, the cargo and passenger transportation products, and we had no doubts it would work. I personally had no doubts. I think, underestimated Dr. Unitsky, because over that time, he delivered several times more than we expected, because now we have more than 20, around 20 types of rolling stocks implemented and brought into market. A lot of track infrastructures, different types, light, rigid, different types, like for different tasks, for different clients. So all of it is already there. And when we didn't have doubts back then, and now we have even fewer doubts once we saw that it worked. Now my question is to people who are talking about the financial aspect of the string transportation technology, about the financial success, about the possibility of paying out profits in the future. So why right now people are asking whether it is going to happen or not going to happen? And some people are saying right away, like hate speeches. Like there was one guy who said, one of the guys who commented, let Unitsky come up with the elixir of youth, fountain of youth, and then probably we'll live long enough to start receiving profits, dividends. So, but where are doubts? I mean, we already traveled this relatively short period, less than 10 years, because at first we wanted to do it in the Baltic states, and we couldn't. We couldn't build the first R&D center, Ecotechno Park. They didn't allow to build it. And then in 2015, Unitsky set up a company from scratch. He created the string transportation technology company. And then in 2015, 2016, the first tracks were built, the first rolling stocks were designed and tested. And then in 2018, 2019, the first certification took place, which is relatively short period of time. So if over that time we saw that everything happened, the technology is viable, then why would people doubt the financial potential or the financial success coming from the implementation of those projects? So where would those doubts come from? Or what is the reason for those doubts? Just answer me this question, please. So some people are asking about the IPO. Some people are asking about the possibility to sell pre-IPO shares, the pipes. Do you know how this process works? If you don't, then I can dwell on it separately. Someone says it might take longer time. Well, if someone says, I think someone says if it weren't for sanctions, then everything would have been implemented already. But you know what? Sanctions did not really affect what Dr. Unitsky is doing. The company is still successfully developing on the international market. Probably there are some difficulties with the supply of certain components or some units, but mostly Dr. Unitsky diversified that aspect as well, because what things related to the main units and the technology itself of the string transportation technology is produced by the company in-house. So it's not a problem. Sanctions are not a problem. Someone says, we need to take it into account and announce it because I've invested my last money in 2014. Thankfully, I didn't take out a loan. But why would you invest your last money? The string transportation technology, especially in 2014, was a startup. It was a venture capital project in full meaning, and you cannot invest your last money in such a high-risk project. It's a no-no. It's incorrect investment behavior. And it's not smart, because venture projects and string transportation technology back then was a startup venture project are very high risk. And it should have been like a red flag for you, or like you should understand that this is not the investment that you invest right now and the day after you get a lot of money, or it's some liquid assets. No, it's more about question to you. You didn't have to invest your last penny. And even now, at this stage, based on the rules of private investing, you shouldn't be investing your last money in any financial instrument, investment instrument. So we believed Unitsky wanted to support it. Back then, you should have told us that it would take dozens of years and not in the near future. Well, if you take my speeches back then, because I've been promoting string transportation technology for 11 years now, in none of my speeches, offline events, and I had like dozens of them across the world, Europe, big Eastern region like India and Middle East. I never said that it would happen in the near future. To myself, back in 2010, I said that this is something that would take many years. I'd say that I was there for the long haul. And if we're talking about return on investment after the capitalization of the project, then it wouldn't happen very fast. Not at all. If we take the technologies that are way simpler, like, let's say, Apple computer technologies or IT technologies, they can be considered quick technologies because they don't really need to have so many difficulties in its implementation like we have with the string transportation technology. String transportation technology is a sector-forming technology, and every rolling stock and the track infrastructure requires dozens and dozens of components, units, and machinery. And just cargo transportation or urban passenger string transportation project takes years of design and testing and then certification and so on and so forth. It cannot happen fast, this whole creative process. Well, if we're talking about the potential in the commercial use of the string transportation technology, then we are at the next stage here, and there are also certain difficulties there at that stage. Not even pitfalls, it's like objective obstacles, difficulties related to politics, geopolitics, financing, land allocation, approvals, and so on and so forth. But we have the biggest advantage here. Let's say the group of companies related to the string transportation technology has a huge advantage, which is the company receives part of its profits at the very beginning of the implementation of the commercial project. And this is a big advantage for us. Why? Because the company doesn't have to wait for the construction to start. The company doesn't have to wait until the project is brought into operation and the tickets to ride start selling. The company will already start receiving its first payments for pre-design work, feasibility study, the preparatory work, things that needs to be done even before the construction starts or the commercial project implementation cycle starts. The company will already receive money for the preparatory work, design, engineering work. And if the engineering work is done, it's not yet a guarantee that the project will be fully implemented, but the company has already received money, which is already income for the company, revenues for the company. And let me show you the words by Dr. Unitsky, where he clearly stated that. His words corroborate my words. Let's listen to it, and then I will give my comment again. Just give me a moment. I think I didn't share the audio. Moreover, we plan to conclude several new contracts and start building the infrastructure. And then everything will be apparent, and no one and nothing will be able to influence the implementation of these projects. Another plan is to expand the regions of operation and open representative offices in 3 locations for the development of commercial projects. So as part of the implementation of targeted projects, the production of the first batch of U-Pods is expected to be launched at the plant in the Republic of Belarus. In the future, we plan to increase the machinery fleet of our production complex. It's a unique complex. An important stage in the plans for the next year is the conclusion of an agreement on the allocation of a site for a high-speed transport complex with a length of more than 20 kilometers, which will allow us to test U-Pods at speeds of up to 500 kilometers per hour, as well as to create the necessary logistics infrastructure for this purpose. In addition, R&D is planned for a high-speed transportation complex with high-capacity U-Pods, a hyperspeed complex, and a warehouse automation system for seaports. In the coming year, we'll witness the ongoing active demonstration of UST technology to the world at international exhibitions and venues, with participation in 10 major events planned so far. And the financial performance of Unitsky String Technologies, Inc. has shown positive results for the first time. The company has reached its self-sufficiency break-even point. So the plans for the next year include reaching profitability, thanks or through the projects. Just give it a second. Max is muted. I'm sorry. Yes, I turned off my microphone. Now it's back on. Okay, so the key point. So were you able to hear what Dr. Initsky said? Yes, okay, good. So that's what matters. So Dr. Initsky mentioned that in 2023, the company has reached its self-sufficiency, and the plans for 2024 include reaching the point of making profits when the company does not only breaks even, but in addition to covering all the expenses, the company will also receive net profits. And what would that profits consist of or come from? Right now, we don't have dozens of commercial projects implemented, but how can the company start receiving profits? Through the engineering works, construction works, and pre-design works Dr. Initsky mentioned, and I mentioned, because any commercial project starts from design, from engineering the works, from feasibility study, pre-design studies, and so on. Everything that is part of the first stage of the project implementation cycle, which is feasibility study, which is a huge scope of work. And Grigory says, thanks to the advance payments for potential projects. Correct, but it's not just some fake or imaginary projects. It's actual projects, real projects, because the company will do its engineering technical part by doing very accurate calculations for every project. And the Dr. Initsky's team has dozens of such projects in the pipeline. And almost all of those projects will imply prepayment, down payment by the clients. They pay to the company for that preparatory work. So the question is, for the companies to start receiving profits, do they need to wait until the construction works start within a specific project? Not necessarily. The company can already start receiving revenues. But once the project is launched and tickets to ride are being sold, it will only increase the revenue of the company, because there will be license agreements where license will be necessary to use the string transportation technology, and the company will be receiving royalties for using company's technology. Within some projects, the company can become even a co-owner, participate in the equity, have a big share. In some of the companies' projects, the company can be involved on different terms. All the projects are individual, and individual negotiations are held with different partners. But I would like to emphasize that the profits can be generated by the company without even launching or putting the project into operation physically. I already mentioned it on numerous occasions, but I will do it again. Who is a specific client? Can you give me an example? Someone says, look, you heard the speech of the Ministry of Road Transport of India. So you can derive it from yourselves. If the minister is talking about it, then a governmental agency will be the client, some Indian municipality or a region, a district. They will be the client. And there are quite a lot of such clients. Aygul, judging by your name, you are from Kazakhstan. So in Kazakhstan, there are also potential projects and negotiations are being held at the highest level, as far as I know. I know that this project is going full sail in your country as well. But I wanted to understand that the journey from the first order to the placement of order to the implementation of the project, putting into operation, is quite difficult, especially when governmental agencies are involved, because a lot depends on red tape, bureaucracy. For example, let's say a mayor of a city places an order on behalf of the city for a specific project in their region to connect point A to point B, and they pay the company down payment for engineering, technical works, pre-design work, everything that has to do with the engineering and technical part. And then that mayor's term of office is over, or let's say the lobbying group terms of office is over. And the next mayor decides to fold it all up, but the company already received the down payment. Just give me a second. Gregory says that it takes forever to have different approvals from different agencies. Indeed, sometimes red tape becomes insuperable. It is in the way and it can be an obstacle, but it's a common occurrence in any country, in Europe, post-Soviet countries, in the East. But for the company, it's not even... It affects the company. It's very important for the company to be able to bring the project into operation and to sell the first ticket to ride, but to generate profits, as Dr. Unitsky said in his speech, the company just needs to receive the first orders and start doing their pre-design work and design work even before starting the construction. And this is what makes us understand, or helps us understand, where the money will come from, the profits will come from. So when you're asking about IPOs, that question becomes moot, because the IPO is not a goal in itself for the company to start making profits. But if we're talking about the IPO, full-scale IPO, then the company needs to show profits for a span of several years before the company goes to the IPO. When the pre-IPO shares are converted into proper shares, for those shares to cost good money, the company needs to show very good profits to be able to sell the shares at the face value. In our case, it's $1. So for that to happen, the company needs to have a lot of pre-orders, orders, and preferably already have several dozen projects implemented already, commercial projects. And in that case, the IPO will be huge, will make a resonance. And For us, it will mean that our pre-IPO shares will become shares and will be sold at a good price, which will be a good return on our investment, no matter when you do it. We did it in 2014, 2018, or now. But what is important to understand is that we can see already the potential, and that the profits that the company will be receiving will be shared with their shareholders in the near future, or pre-IPO shareholders. And I wanted to focus on what Dr. Yunitsky said in his speech, and I'm going to show you that part of the interview. And the next point covered by Dr. Yunitsky is very important in our understanding and our correct interpretation of his words, of what he said in the annual report for 2023, because quite a lot of people in the chat, again, engage in wishful thinking. Now listen carefully here, and then I will comment on it. Listen carefully to what Anatoly is saying. Targeted projects. As a result, by 2025, Yunitsky group of companies is expected to finalize the legal and financial infrastructure framework for the payment of remuneration to project participants. So friends, here it is very important to understand. Dr. Yunitsky said, and before that he said, that the company has reached its self-sufficiency. In 2024, it's planning to start receiving profits, and by 2025, it will finalize the creation of the legal and financial infrastructure / framework for the payment of dividends. So many people, even present here, clients of our platform, interpret Dr. Yunitsky's work in a different way. Like Dr. Yunitsky promised in 2025 to pay dividends. Now, please tell me, and such messages were numerous in the chat, and now tell me where in that video Anatoly Yunitsky promised to pay dividends in 2025. Did he actually promise to pay dividends in 2025? Friends, this is a question to you. So did he actually say, like, I promise, or the company will pay dividends in 2025? Okay, I see people are not getting it right. Alexander says they're planning the payout. Well, I understand that you didn't get it right. Let me show it to you again, what he actually said. Once again, I will show it to you. Listen carefully. So Yunitsky String Technologies has shown positive results for the first time. The company has reached its self-sufficiency. So the plans for the next year includes reaching profits using targeted projects. As a result, by 2025, Yunitsky group of companies is expected to finalize the creation of the legal and financial infrastructure for the payment of remuneration. Again, I ask you the question, what did he say? By 2025, Yunitsky group of companies is planning to finalize the creation of the legal and financial infrastructure framework, call it whatever you like, legal and financial infrastructure to pay for the payment of dividends. It's the finalization of the creation of the infrastructure of the framework. And now you understand where all that negativity comes from. So people mentioned speakers back from 2014, 2018 that someone promised them in the past. I'm not going to name names here in order not to compromise our colleagues here. But those people, they shared their thoughts. Probably they shared their guesswork. Probably they shared their vision regarding this or that year. But it was their vision. And if you believed that vision, like Gregory says, Maxim, it's called the so-called the telephone game. So basically, if someone believed that vision, then should you be addressing your questions to Dr. Unitsky? Of course not. Then you should direct your questions to those people whose vision you believed, or ideas or opinions. Dr. Unitsky, throughout his activities, both as a scientist, as a communicator with us, investors, never gave any specific dates, deadlines, timeframes, when the dividend payment of dividends will start, when the IPO would be launched. And many people would tell me, Maxim, but you don't know the elementary documents, the stages of development of the company mention the year 2018. The stages of the company document is just a direction, vector of development of the company, how the company was supposed to develop. And when those plans were created back in like 2013, 14, when the stages of development were conceived for the string transportation technology, it was just the direction where the company would go and the final destination point. That plan followed the best case scenario, provided two factors are ensured, which is financing, and the second, the engineering technical works. So the engineering technical works have been carried out according to schedule, despite lack of funding, and some of the works were not carried out on time because of the external factors, such as COVID in 2019, a lot of production facilities shut down temporarily, especially the suppliers of metal, of steel. There have been problems, some supplies have been frozen, and another external factors. But it should not be deemed like that they told you that's how it was going to be, that this is like set in stone. But if we go back to what Dr. Unitsky actually said, he said that by 2025, the company will finalize the creation of the legal and financial framework for paying dividends. So the preparation of the framework will be completed because we are spread across the entire world. We're hundreds of thousands of people in dozens of countries. And now, even when this company will start receiving its profits, and after it submits its financial report for 2024, and they come up with the net profit, certain terms and conditions will have to be met for the payment, for the profits to be paid. I have a specific recording of my meeting where I looked into the declaration of dividends. There are certain conditions under which the company will share its profits. And if those conditions are met, that's when we can start talking about dividends. Not even dividends, remuneration, that's the word that was used. So if we're talking about that particular topic, then we need to remember that first, this legal financial framework infrastructure needs to be created for us to receive our parts of the profits without problems, because every country has their own taxation, has their own laws, so their own legal nuances. So do not misinterpret Dr. Unitsky's words. And do not take them as you see fit, or do not do not replace your expectations or his words with your expectations. So what he said, the company was planning to finalize the legal and financial framework. And this is something we need to understand, fully realize, and stop sharing or spreading misinformation, especially to people whom you're inviting to the company. Don't tell them that the company will start paying dividends in 2025. Don't misguide people, mislead people, because it will be you for those people to whom they will go to. They will say that Alexander, Simeon, Paul, Maxim promised me that the company would pay. So in order to avoid that, listen carefully what was actually said by Dr. Initsky and not what you wanted to hear. So Valentina wrote me in private, Maxim, don't be harsh on the people. People are hearing what they want to hear. So Valentina, in order to avoid that, in order to avoid people hearing what they want to hear, I wanted to focus on that and convey to you what Dr. Initsky exactly said in order to avoid that notorious telephone game, because it will badly affect the reputation of the company or the group of companies. And right now, the company is at a point where reputation is of paramount importance. And that's why we should take a very responsible approach here, attitude. We should be very thorough in what we're saying, very careful, in order to avoid mistakes made by previous public speakers who were promoting the string transportation technology. But when I share my assumptions, when I share my personal predictions, you must have noted that each time I say that this is not the official position of the company, this is not the official information from the company, this is my personal opinion as Maxim Isyp, and I'm entitled to my opinion like everyone else. But I always warn that this is my personal opinion, and this is how I see the future, this way or another way. And if you go and see the meeting dedicated to the declaration of dividends from the GTI company, many of the things mentioned there are in line with what I said during my analysis, to my analytical conclusions that I shared with you. A lot of matches there, which is kind of pleasant for me, but it doesn't mean that I promised something and it happened. It happened, but I didn't promise anything to anyone. I just shared my predictions, my conclusions, my viewpoints, and happily they match the reality. That's good. But once again, I wanted to emphasize that this is something very important to keep in mind. Do not use wishful thinking, and do not replace what has been said with your expectations, and do not set Dr. Initsky up and say that in 2020 we're going to have dividends paid. No, not exactly. The legal and financial framework will be ready, which is much more important, to be able to pay dividends in a legal way. And then we will start calculating how much the company has made, net profit, and how much money will go to each particular investor. And that's when we're going to see what happens. So I hope this particular point is clear, and I won't have to now talk about the IPO again, or I will not have to tell you when you will be able to sell your pre-IPO shares. No, is that clear? Do you agree that I won't have to repeat it again? Friends, I hope I'm not talking to myself here, because I don't have to convince myself, persuade myself. But it's not like I'm trying to persuade you. I just want you to understand the boundaries of responsibility, personal responsibility, because we are responsible for the information that we're sharing with other people. people that we are inviting to our platform, to this project, people that we talk to when we talk about the string transportation technology and its promotion. This is, friends, a very, very responsible matter, because right now the technology is at a point when we don't have to write to shoot ourselves in the foot and kind of, make ourselves a disservice. Because if we do that, and if we hear what we want to hear and then share that with other people, that's what we're doing. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. We are undermining the reputation, our own reputation, and Dr. Yunitsky's reputation, like putting it at risk. Just give me a second. I'm gonna have this message translated first, and then I will continue. Okay, so Verica says some people want to sell pre-IPO shares. How they can do it? I do not want to sell, but I'm asking for other people. Right now, there is no such possibility. And I guess when the legal financial framework is created for the payment of remuneration to people who own pre-IPO shares, probably that's where the mechanism for the sale of pipes will be set up. This is not a given fact. It might happen, it might not. It's my personal opinion, but it's not entirely correct to do it if you're getting ready for an IPO to sell the pipes. It depends. It depends on what kind of path the company will take. If they choose one path, then probably this option will be available and people will be able to sell the pre-IPO shares on some internal market, or probably some big players will come into play and will want to buy out, and then we'll have the special agreement in place that will allow people to sell their pipes to major investors. So it might happen, but again, this is my personal opinion. Right now, if I'm to answer your Verica's question, no, there is no such opportunity right now. Is it gonna be? Probably yes, probably no, I don't know. But when the company launches its IPO, then of course, people will be able to sell their shares, already shares in the market, or keep those shares and receive remuneration. Another comment, just give me a second. Thank you for answering. On GTI document, it is written that we will receive dividends of the company made 40%, and that is planned for 2025. Well, exactly. That's what I meant, that there are certain conditions, criteria to be met for the company to start sharing its profits. So if the company generates certain profits, then from those profits can be shared by the company. Parts of those profits can be shared by the company. But it doesn't mean that it's going to happen in the exact way as it was mentioned. Remember that in the declaration of dividends on the GTI website, there was small print that it is not a 100% like final document. It's just a direction that we're going in. And everything happened right now is a kind of proof that we are on the right direction, right track. The company has clients. The company has international presence in different regions and continents. The company has opened representative offices in the US, the Emirates, Indonesia, Belarus, in India. Right now, they're working on a project. So everything happening right now, all of it is kind of a confirmation, corroboration of what was written in the GTI document. So everything is being implemented. However, it is important to understand that there are external factors as well that might affect the process, that might delay things. This is something really important to understand. Okay, friends, even if it happens, Gregory says, it doesn't mean that the payouts will be according to $1 face value right away. Of course not. For the shares to cost $1, quite a lot of things need to happen first. A lot of string transportation technology models need to be implemented. For example, it will depend on the number of the thousands of kilometers of tracks built. Capitalization will be affected by the market demand. Capitalization will be affected by the number of future orders that the company will have in its portfolio. Lots of other factors will affect the market price. So let's not kind of jump the gun here and discuss things that haven't happened yet. Let's discuss things that we have on our table. And here's what we have on our table. First, let's do some summary, some summing up, and then we'll move on to the remaining part of our meeting, and it will be of interest to all of us, users of RSW Systems platform. So to sum it up, all up, right now, the string transportation technology is actively developing in the international market in the form of numerous orders and pre-orders, increased interest from the international scientific community, in scientific technical community. Next, the company is now continuously receiving more and more delegations from different countries and continents, which is in line with everything that Dr. Initsky mentioned when reporting for the year 2023. Now, currently, the company has, the group of companies that are part of the string transportation technology has 2 ready-to-use commercial projects, urban passenger and cargo transportation, and all of it is already in the commercial pipeline. And now we have all the reasons to assume and to expect that in the next year, 2 or 3 years, in the near future, the company will start receiving enough revenue to start sharing that revenue profits with us. And this is the reality of today that we have, which is very, very good. Now, how does it affect us? How does it affect us? It's a question to you. Us, active people, active promoters in the investment crowdfunding that we're doing. How does it relate to us personally? So let me ask you this question, and we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll take another 30 minutes to discuss the questions related to our platform, and we'll have kind of a Q&A session. And when you answer my question, I will see whether you have the correct picture. So I've asked you this question. We'll take a 5-minute break. Well, 7-minute break. Okay. So the question is, again, how everything that we've discussed and seen and heard today, all those achievements and the level that the company has achieved, the fact that the company has 2 ready-to-use commercial products that are still actively evolving, how does it affect us? By us, I mean people who are actively involved in the investment crowdfunding. How does it relate to us and what we need to do in the near future? So this is my question to you. And now we have in the Russian-speaking room 70 people at least. So write the answer to this question, each of you, and we are going to have a 5 to 7 minute break. I will make myself some coffee, drink that coffee. And if you need to do the same, please do, or make yourself some tea, and then answer my question, please, because I guess our interpreters are a little bit tired as well. Yes, we need to take a break. And I think even if we work a little longer, but the information that I will give you is very important for us as active users of the platform. There is quite a lot of interesting spoiler ahead of us about what is in store for us in October. Okay, I'm gonna take a break right now. Okay, friends, let's continue. Okay, I don't see a lot of answers to my question, the question that I asked. I think my mic is on. 1, 2, 3, sound check. Yeah. Our listeners are giving me pluses, means that everyone can hear me. Okay, I will repeat my question again. So all the facts that we've covered about the achievements in the area of string transportation technology, about the increased interest from the global scientific community towards what Dr. Initsky is doing, the expanded international presence of the company in the global market. So all of that taken together, what does it mean for us, investors in the string transportation technology? What does it push us towards? Don't be shy. Write your comments, write your answers. There are no wrong answers. And I will start reading your comments. If you haven't done it yet, please do, because I would like to see let's say, the direction of your thoughts, whether it is in line with the work that we are planning to do in the nearest months, or better, months, singular. Okay. LoveBiz says, help finalize stage 15, or help finalize funding the stage 15. Okay, good. Simeon says we need to share information about our participation in the project with links to the stages and prospects of the development. Okay. Just continue investing in the project, says Nikolai. I will like your comment as well. Gregory says, I support what Maxim said, that the time to be mistrustful of the project is in the past. Now we need to get involved and start familiarizing. Alexander says, let's invest ourselves, attract other investors, and promote the construction of the transportation infrastructural solutions of the UST Inc. For some reason, someone launched screen sharing. Let me shut it down. Okay, next. In my opinion, we just should expand our portfolio and, if possible, continue attracting investors. So, friends, please do not click on anything, okay? Ruslan, could you please take a look at the access settings to prevent our participants launch the drawing board? Alexander says, in my opinion, we just have to expand our portfolio and attract other investors. It will at the same time support and protect our investments. And of course, we need training how to correctly attract new investors. We need to attract big-time investors. The risks are already very low, so we need to start making big checks. I agree with that 100%. Next. Someone says, What does RSW Systems stand for? It's an old name. It means Rail Skyway Systems. So translate it literally, it means kind of, well, like rail stands for like railroad, skyway, sky means sky, and way means like road, journey. So basically, yeah, it's rail skyway systems. Let me translate the next question from the philanthropist. They say there is no interpretation to English. We're not understanding, please. There is. I think you're wrong. So there is translation interpretation. Just you have to go to the bottom of your screen and choose your language, English in this case. Yes, railway skyway systems. That is what RSW systems means. Well, there are different ways how you can interpret it, but it's a rail skyway system. Well, that's why we are rebranding it, because now the current name does not correspond to what the company is doing right now. The company abandoned the old name long ago, and we're not going to use that name anymore. By 2024, we will transition to a new platform, which is called Micron Global. So why it is called Micron Global? What is the philosophy behind this new brand? It is in my interview on our YouTube channel. So if you don't know about it, please watch it. I give a detailed description, explanation. I'm not going to talk about it today. So what I wanted to tell you at the end of our today's meeting, it is for a reason that I asked you to answer the question, what kind of actions it motivates us to do. The recent news, the developments in the string transportation technology created by Dr. Yunitsky, well, basically, it should motivate us towards active involvement, active actions, because very little time is left until we reach the final destination point. Because I think out of everything planned, the company already achieved like 80%, like 70%. Let's be more modest. So we have three types of transportation, two types of transportation already, which is urban passenger and cargo transportation. And the third one is the high-speed transportation, with a high chance of being implemented in the territory of the United States, as mentioned in June by Dr. Yunitsky in his interview. And for that, dear friends, of course, we need to have regular funding, both in the of the current R&D being carried out for the existing types of transportation, because both urban and cargo transportation are being constantly developed, evolving. It's being tested, and new infrastructure tracks are being tested and certified. Another piece of news was published that in the United Arab Emirates, they are preparing one of the tracks for certification. So we need to actively participate as partners, as agents in the promotion of this technology, attract new investors in the string transportation technology, for just one simple reason, because the point of no return is far, far behind. The technology is viable, and now to sell this technology, the information about this technology, is way easier than it used to be 5-7 years ago, especially when we just started, when we didn't have everything that the company has today. Back then, everyone just put their blind trust in Dr. Yunitsky. We're basing our decisions on emotions, on intuition. And today we have facts to support our decisions. And all of those achievements can be easily conveyed to a person and we can easily show them that, look, right in front of your eyes, literally in 7, 8, 10 years, the technology that was an innovative technology in transportation became viable. Right in front of your eyes, the company has created an absolutely new type of transportation, string transportation. We have railway transportation, car transportation, aviation, sea ships, submarines, space transportation, and now have a new type of transportation, string transportation, because it's not a railroad, it's not a cable or monorail transportation. It's an absolutely new type of transportation. And what does the company have? And then you give them, show them. You show them that the company right now has real clients. The company is being supported by reputable, high-ranking politicians and officials in the area of transportation. Like you can quote the Minister of Road Transport and Highways of India, or the RTA structure AET agency, and everything is there for you to share with people. And there are no reasons right now for people not to become investors in the string transportation technology. Right now, there are two reasons why people can't become. The first reason is because they do not fully understood the information that they were given, or they indeed don't have free-floating money to invest into a venture project. But honestly, we're not a venture project anymore. We are an investment project, because we've outgrown our venture project status. We're now moved on to a new stage, new status. So right now, our task is to provide as much support to the string transportation technology as possible through our active participation activities in this crowdfunding, investment crowdfunding. And for you to do it better, to be better motivated to do it, we have developed a new marketing plan, compensation plan, that will help you build your careers with our platform, Micron Global. You can start building your corporate career. You can start achieving new statuses in the company. You can become our official representatives in your region. You can now start doing your business at a completely different level and receive completely different kind of commission, remuneration. Literally, in the next few weeks, hopefully, we'll be on time. We'll have a meeting, closed meeting, for all of our active clients, where we're going to present our new compensation plan. And after you familiarize with that marketing plan, we will launch a promotion that will last for 2 months, so that every one of you, after seeing the new marketing plan, after seeing the new ranks and statuses on our platform, would be able to do during that period the necessary scope of work, the necessary volume, according to the new marketing plan, new rank criteria. You can already start working towards achieving those ranks even before the marketing plan is put into motion. So basically, you can already achieve those ranks. And then when the new platform is put into motion, you will be automatically assigned the rank that you deserve and the fees that you deserve. So why it's going to be closed meeting? Because it is intended for people who made the decision to build their careers on our platform and move forward forward. This is not going to be a publicly available information. Again, this information will be closed information because it is targeted for active agents, users, and it's going to be kind of an inside information. It's going to be a preliminary presentation of the compensation plan, that we will be putting into force for you to be better motivated towards taking more actions. And that promotion will be running until we launch our website, updated website. As for the website, the new platform, new back office personal account, it will be very up to date, modern looking back office. We're going to have an entire training module there, corporate training, which will be designed both for new users who will have to know all the elementary fundamental things in the string transportation technology. This is going to be the delivery of training material in a very user-friendly format. Also, we're going to cover certain financial instruments that are used to create your personal financial portfolio, and what kind of a share in your personal investment portfolio should be taken by investments in this particular sector. I mean, in the string transportation technology. So what should be the share in the overall pie investment portfolio? Like, people were saying that they invested their last penny back in 2014 in the string transportation technology. In order to avoid that kind of mistakes, we will have dedicated training dedicated to financial literacy, investment literacy. And all of the training will be free, both for newcomers and, well, for all of the active clients. We're going to have corporate training on how to build your career and how to grow as a leader, how to claim the opportunity to open your own representative office in your region, in your country, how to be entitled to do that. Also, we're going to put together a team of speakers because we are going to expand our internet presence in media in different languages. So we are going to handpick candidates who will be running presentations, who will be representing our platform, and who will be our media people. And all of that, friends, will be available to you. We will also share all the information, what kind of people we're looking for, whom we would like to have in our team. All of that information will be given during the closed meeting. So right now we are preparing the marketing plan presentation. Right now we're actively working on the finalization of our website. So our IT team have moved on to the technical part, and it is not far off when I'm going to announce the launch date of the Micron Global platform. So, to sum up our today's meeting, we have a very big treasure on our hands, which is the string transportation technology, which is literally a godsend. And it was our chance to join that project. And now we can witness immense growth of the company. And right now we have a wonderful instrument, the investment crowdfunding, that will help us become co-owners of the technology and also allow others to do the same by joining our partnership program. And you in turn have an opportunity to earn from that process, which is a normal thing. In the recent years, even the banking system has switched to referral systems. In my country, a lot of banks are using a referral system when you invite new clients to the bank. And it's normal. It's already normal. When people were telling us that we're using a pyramid scheme, etc., it's all nonsense because they didn't know how referral programs work. That affiliate program, referral program are a normal tool of promoting, marketing any kind of product. Lots of companies have been using that model for dozens of years across the entire world. And investment crowdfunding model was the only reason why the technology became viable in terms of funding. So in front of us, dear friends, there is a lot of ground to cover, a lot of work to do. We have a lot of large-scale events ahead of us in 2025, because by 2025, we gonna surely go through all the trainings, and we will have major events in a lot of countries, and I will gradually reveal those countries to you. I will lift the veil and announce our very, very busy schedule to you throughout the entire 2025. So, dear friends, it is the 21st of September. Very few days, very little time is left until the end of the month. And we have an opportunity this month to be active as well, while we are preparing for the closed meeting, while we're preparing the presentation of the new marketing plan for you. So let's use that time as efficiently as possible to share the information among as many people as possible about the technology, about our platform, and let's make sure that as many people as possible join our project. And for your convenience, next week, next Saturday, we're going to have the presentation of the string transportation technology and our crowdfunding platform, RSW Systems. It's going to happen next Saturday, 6 p.m. +3 to GTM. And this is it from me right now. I don't think I have anything to add to what I've already said during those 2 hours. And if you share my point of view about our next steps, our next actions, please comment on that. Give me some kind of a feedback regarding what you've just heard, and whether it is you're interested in becoming active participants, as I want you to. So the floor is yours, as they say. And while you're writing your messages, I will have some of the messages translated for me. Someone says, thank you very much. Of course, very much interested. Also, we're working on attracting informed investors. Thank you, Alexander. This is a good option for growth. Thank you, Verica. We're waiting for the presentation and training, Alexander says. Thank you. Okay. So our mission is to save the ecosystem of the planet Earth and humanity from ignorance and self-destruction. Together, we promote and scale up modern education, innovative transportation technology, and the Eco World program I support fully. Thank you for the conference. I understand that I made the right decision back in 2015. I completely share your point of view, Simeon, 100%. So I have a question sent to me in private. The 10% bonus to my package hasn't been credited yet for terminating my installment early. I haven't yet received the answer from the support team. I don't know why. Write it in the common chat, this message. The support team will see it and they will give you feedback. If you didn't indeed met all the conditions, you will receive your plus 10% bonus to your package. So what I wanted to say at the end of the meeting, I will have one more question translated. Albena says, How can I become active and build career? Albena Vasev. You can easily do that if you are not yet our client or a partner. You can register on our website and you can make your first investment. You can read all the documents, all the agreements that are offered to you upon registration. If you're already a partner, as you say, in this case, you just need to start. You need to start inviting people to the presentation. The presentation, for example, that I'm going to have on Saturday. So what is the date? 28th of September. So start with something small as that. Just invite people. And what else I wanted to tell you at the end of our meeting? I see certain negativity. Just give me a second. One last answer. I'm going to give you one last answer to the comment, and then we'll call it a day, okay? What do I need to do to invite people? Albena says, well, what you need is take a pen, take a notebook, and write down a list of people that you know, like 20 people you know, and then invite everyone personally to our event. Just call them up, write them up, and tell them, like, you have an offer to that person that they can't refuse. Let them listen to it, watch our presentation, and after the presentation, they can make the correct decision. So what I'm saying is just call people you know and invite them to the online event. That's it. If they cannot attend the online event, they can always watch the recorded presentations on our YouTube channel, and you can share them with them the link, or give them the presentation about the string transportation technology created by the UST company on their YouTube channel. And after that, show them the movie about Dr. Unitsky. And after that, give that person an opportunity to sign up, to register on our website, and then help them choose an investment package. But all of those steps, by the way, will be included in our training. So if people don't know how the system works, we will teach you how. We will show you how in our training modules, and you won't have such questions anymore. Okay, good. Well, here's your answer. Then those people who are here, they know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. And for those who think it's just empty talk, then let it be. Just don't waste your time. I guess you won't hear from me the exact date when the company will start paying dividends, because, well, this question is, I won't call it silly, but this question is moot. Moot meaning not relevant anymore, because I've already covered that issue many, many times during all of my meetings, trying to explain all the processes involved with the payout of dividends. But when people keep asking the same question or waiting for the meeting for me to tell them that on this particular day, on this particular month, you will first receive your first remuneration on your account, and then you won't hear that. Well, thank you very much for coming here. I would like also to thank in particular our interpreters who have been translating us, helping us for 2.5 hours straight, helping us understand each other, hear each other in the language that we understand. Guys, thank you very much for your work. And I would like to thank all of our guests, all of our partners for your support as well, your attendance, your time. And I will be waiting for you next Saturday at my presentation. And if we have a reason to have a meeting before the presentation go on air, if there is some piece of news, then probably we will have a meeting on Thursday as well. But for now, tentatively, we're going to have a meeting on Thursday, on the 28th of this September. Okay, that's it, friends. Have a nice evening, have a nice weekend, and thank you very much for your attention. Bye-bye.